Hello my royal lovelies, welcome back to the channel, and as always welcome to my home and welcome to my garden as well. We are outside today because it's a nice sunny day and I just felt like being outside. Right, so I'm posting a main channel video for everyone today. I do mostly post now channel members only videos, so if you're wondering where I've been, I have been posting, but you need to be a channel member of the Royal Court tier to get my live streams. But today I wanted to make an open chat because it's about King Charles's health concerns, position, what's happened over the last 24 hours, which has actually come as a little bit of a surprise. So we know that King Charles has been undergoing treatment for an undisclosed form of cancer. We can hear the sirens going off right on cue. It's probably an ambulance or something. So yesterday we got a bit of a shock because King Charles was admitted to hospital with a complication, an issue, a speed bump, a bump in the road, as the palace has been describing it. So we don't know what it was, but we do believe that it was some kind of a side effect of the cancer treatment that he's been on, which is a little bit at odds with how we've seen him ramping up his royal duties, especially with different overseas visits that have been planned, like that to the Vatican to see the Pope, although that was in doubt anyway because of the Pope's own health concerns. But certainly King Charles had a full diary of engagements, including today. He was supposed to be at Birmingham doing a series of engagements, which is actually not a million miles away from where I live here in the UK. So it came as a little bit of like a bolt out of the blue, because obviously we know that he's been having cancer treatment, he's been going in and out of hospital, he's been having treatment at home, they've been able to manage it, and he's been ramping up his duties. So I think it just went as a bit of a shock to find out that, you know, he still isn't over it, and we know that he's not over it. But I think the King and Catherine going through treatment at the same time for the same, you know, for cancer, not the same type of cancer, but for cancer in general, has kind of been a little bit of a shroud for King Charles. He's been able to hide behind, I think, the level of interest in Catherine's health concerns and her cancer battle, where we I think we sort of overlooked how the King is doing. We've seen him quietly getting better, returning to duties, and we haven't really questioned, you know, is the treatment over yet? You know, how actually is he doing long term? But it seems like he must still be undergoing treatment. Now, I do know that there are certain cancers that you can have where you are on permanent long-term treatment. There are tablets that you can have to help manage conditions, to help you live with it. Maybe that's what he's on, I don't know. And maybe, as with all medication, there are side effects, and sometimes maybe you have to have the medicine rebalanced, readdressed, reassessed, and that's probably what he went into hospital for. I'm imagining there was some kind of maybe funny turn, maybe dizziness, you know, I mean, there are so many different symptoms that you can have, side effects from cancer treatments, that it's really difficult to pin down and hone down on what it could possibly be. But we do know that he wasn't in there for long. They must have done all the tests, sorted things out, he saw his doctors, and but it was obviously something, perhaps maybe tests that they couldn't have done at the palace or one of his homes. So he definitely had to go in, you know, to have access to, I would imagine, scanners and that kind of thing. So I imagine maybe they did some kind of scan, and maybe any kind of test that they couldn't do at home, because if it could have been done at home, I'm sure it would have been. Camilla, the Queen, did not go to visit him because he wasn't in long enough to go visit. So anyway, he's back, and I think as a precautionary measure they took the decision to cancel today's Birmingham engagements to give him time to recover. So any overseas visits are in doubt at the moment. We'll have to wait and see how the King is going on. We do know that Queen Camilla has been urging the King to slow down a little bit, but he was back said to be doing his red boxes of work and papers and all that kind of thing. So as I said, it's been described as a little bit of a bump, a little bit of a blip in the road, but it has made us, I think about the King's health, and actually that the battle is not over. We know that Catherine is currently in remission. but we haven't had any such word about the king. So the king's health has now, I think, been put in the forefront of our minds, whereas I think we kind of almost forgot about it a little bit. We knew it was there, but we kind of were getting on with life just in the same way that he was. And I think now it's put everything into very sharp focus. But also, I want to talk about the readiness of the royal family should anything happen untoward to the king. Because, you know, Catherine still, you know, it's still early days of the remission. And we do have a very capable monarch in waiting in Prince William, the Prince of Wales. And I think we have a very wonderful Queen Consort in waiting in Catherine. But I think William and Catherine and everyone else thought that King Charles's reign was going to be at least 15, maybe 20 years, especially going on the lifespan of his parents. So it wasn't an immediate consideration, an immediate thought. And I think Prince William and Catherine thought that they had time to get to know Wales and to become, you know, to really ingratiate themselves as Prince and Princess of Wales, to really ingratiate themselves with the Commonwealth further, and of course the country, to sort of ready Prince William for this kind of statesman role that he will eventually take on. And I think they thought there was going to be time. And I think this has brought into sharp focus the fact that maybe there might not be time. I'm not casting aspersions, but I think it is something that needs to be spoken about and does need to be considered. One thing that has been mooted by the palace in recent weeks is the fact that maybe it is the end of the era for the long form royal tour that I actually really love. I still love the long form royal tour where they go away for a week or 2 weeks or a month and they really get in depth with a country or a topic or an issue, a full program of royal engagements. I think it's worthwhile. However, I think we're leaning more towards the kind of mini tour, sort of 2, 3, 4 days away, concentrated, and then come back. And I think that's what William has been sort of trying to do. And I think that's probably what we're going to be seeing from William to really ramp things up. I think my prediction is we're going to see a really big step up of him trying to prepare himself for the eventuality of being king. I mean, it's a big, daunting undertaking, one that he's known that he's going to have to address at some point, but I don't think he really thought it was going to be as close as it potentially could be. So I think we're going to be seeing a ramping up of that, also ramping up with the Commonwealth as well, because one of the things that Her late Majesty did towards the end of her life was tie up loose ends. She sort of expressed her wish for the Commonwealth to accept Prince Charles as he was then as head of the Commonwealth. When she passed away, they did. Will we see King Charles doing the same thing for William, trying to set him up to be accepted as head of the Commonwealth? And then that got me thinking about, if there is a shift and William does become king at some point, what happens, for example, to Prince George if he is under 18, not the age, still considered a minor. So 18 is the age in the UK when you are generally considered no longer to be a minor. So if William became king, then obviously the heir to the throne would be Prince George, regardless of age. Even if Prince George was 2 years old, he would still be, or even a baby, he would be still the heir to the throne. So automatically he would be the heir. And he would automatically, technically, have the Dukedom of Cornwall, the Duchy of Cornwall, and therefore would be the Duke of Cornwall. I did look into this with regards to the revenues of it. So at the moment, I think in 2023 to 2024, the revenue brought in for Prince William, £23 million. Now, it was a little bit hazy over how much he paid in tax. I don't know how much he paid in tax. They didn't really release the full figures. But we can expect him to roughly have kind of £23 million. So what happens under the current Sovereign Grant Act is that if there is a holder of the Duchy of Cornwall who is a minor, 10% of the revenue goes to the holder. So Prince George would have £2.3 million. a year, and the rest of that revenue goes back to the crown, but the sovereign grant is reduced by the same amount. So technically, during that minority, only 10% of the revenues actually go to the monarchy, although it would go to Prince George. So technically, until he is 18, he would have £2.3 million a year. I'm not quite sure what the tax implications are for a minor, but I'm imagining it would be probably voluntary tax as well to be paid. So that's kind of what would happen. Also, Prince George would not automatically become the Prince of Wales. They could wait. For example, Prince Charles was not automatically the Prince of Wales. He was made Prince of Wales much later. I mean, he was still a youngster, but we all remember the beautiful ceremony where he was not coronated. He didn't have a coronation, but he had the crown placed on his head, the coronet of Wales. So, by Her late Majesty, and in a beautiful ceremony, which we've not had with Prince William. I would have liked to have seen that. So sorry if the wind noise is playing up. So I just thought there was just a few interesting points to talk about. We don't really have any further updates on the King's health. I'm sure Buckingham Palace said they won't be updating because it was so minor, but I just think it puts things into a little bit more of a sharp focus. And that's kind of where I'm going to end it today. So thank you for watching this very short video. If you do want to, if I have had people commenting, where have you gone? Where's your videos? I am doing channel member only live streams. So if you want to join and you want access to the live streams, I will leave a link in the description box below. You need to become a channel member, and there are 2 tiers. The first tier is the Royal Household. That gets you access to the emojis and loyalty badges. If you want access to the live streams, you have to be in the Royal Court tier, or else you will not get access to the live streams. So that's all from me for today. If you've liked the video, please like it, subscribe, share, all that kind of thing, because it really helps YouTube push the video out. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. So, mwah to you all my lovies, and goodbye.